Chapter 8.
The gentle touch of an iron fist.
Everybody stood before the galactic war map as Nott spoke to Pandura. Raise the Super Earth flag, kill a brood commander, upload escape pod data, pump some E-710, or rescue civilians. She nearly jumped at that idea.
Rescue mission.
Death replied.
A worthy choice, but no. That's the second most important mission available.
Pandura scowled.
How can not saving our own people be the top mission?
Nott answered. Because they are safe inside a fortified bunker with food. Our target will be the brood commander.
My blonde is blinding me. What?
Death explained.
Terminids come in two types, asexual and drones. But the brood commander is the closest thing to a queen they have. She lays eggs. That means this is an expansion of territory. It's a trivial mission now. But when those eggs hatch, the area will be overrun. Those bugs won't be so trivial at that point. Now here is your decision. Our 63 CS diligence counter sniper bullet to the head won't kill the commander outright. But the Terminid will bleed to death in about 2 minutes, or you might be able to put a few more in there to make it faster. Calling in an APW-1 anti-material rifle will guillotine the problem with one shot, but it has the same scope as the counter sniper. And what about the eggs? Technically not a part of the mission.
Nott interjected. Most bugs breathe through the sides of their abdomen, like if your lungs had nose holes between your ribs. The brood and alpha commanders have an additional airway just behind their head crest for their underground activities. While there, the brood commanders lay eggs for scavengers, pouncers, hunters, you name it. They'll put the eggs directly under her. Pandura countered.
Can't we just snipe all the Terminids we can and then advance to kill the eggs?
True. However, it's more efficient to kill both at the same time from a distance, and it's always better to have your enemy come to you. The Terminids will likely hunt for us when we wait for extraction. We can put them down then. But it still falls on you. Do we destroy the eggs?
As Pandura considered what Raven had said, she moved some hair out of her vision.
Yes. It's not the mission, but it is the real reason the mission exists. Orbital laser.
Death replied.
It's workable. We would glass her and the eggs if she doesn't move. We would also get closer than we would like, and that's a big cost stratagem for one bug. But if the brood commander is, let's say, sleeping or is just smart enough to not come out of the dirt, the targeting system won't find her.
The spear.
Nott replied. Good answer. Raven corrected.
If we can get a target lock.
Death nodded, then looked to Nott. Remember your training, and you will make it back alive. It wasn't long later that Pandura elevated up out of her hell pod, almost synchronized with the three chiefs. There was no doubt they had landed on the high ground. Raven immediately used the diligence counter-sniper to scope out the mission area firsthand. Death checked the short-range Helldiver radar on his inner forearm. Nott did a 360-degree turn, then radioed. Imminent. Clear. Death added.
Short range. Clear.
Raven somehow sounded even more cold-bloodedly bored on the burning hot sandy planet.
Passive contact. Bugs.
Raven's SA-25 steel trooper helmet with an advanced rangefinder made a noise.
South by southeast. 261 meters guards for the brood commander.
Raven put a marker on the squad's map.
She should be dug in there.
Nott ordered. Everybody take a knee. Pandura had listened to the planet's ecosystem description on the way down.
Irada Prime is one of 4 planets that reside within the Umlaut sector and is the hottest survivable planet. Its general landscape consists of barren deserts prone to unpredictably dangerous sand twisters and exhausting heat. The terrain alternates between vast stretches of sand and rocks. Most local flora comes in the form of dry grasses and prickly, unpleasant bushes. Frequent sandstorms decrease visibility to unacceptable levels. Citizens are advised to stay wary of occasional seismic activity, which may slow movement or cause injuries. Strategic importance, medium-low. Resources, large deposits of E710 and salt.
Pandura nearly giggled when Raven said,
Ollie Ollie Oxen Freedom. 282 meters dug in good.
he tagged the brood commander. This meant only its spine and the top of its crested head were out of the dirt. Death inputted the code for a spear stratagem and tossed it to Raven's left side. Nott kept his eyes on the map's radar since Death was busy. The stratagem landed and Death spoke to Pandura.
Just take the launcher, leave the backpack.
She did so and aimed toward the marker.
I can't get a lock.
Try higher ground.
We're on the highest.
She realized why Death had told her to leave the backpack in the hell pod. Had she taken it, it would have folded back into the grounded pod. Pandura got a bit of a running start and climbed on top of the mechanical pillar, then took the spear off her back and aimed again.
Still nothing.
Patience. It locks onto heat and movement. Just wait.
Raven commented.
I could always shoot it in the head and then have her blow it up.
Wait, I'm getting a lock.
Nott replied, "Fire for effect." The missile rocketed upward at a 45-degree angle for about half the distance, then changed trajectory 45 degrees and exploded the mission target.
You have been a stalwart line of freedom. Extract when ready.
Duke Raven spoke first.
We're 187 yards from extraction.
Death followed.
Looks like at least 3 points of interest along the way, but we'll have to split the squad for efficiency.
Nott finished the conversation. Death, take the cadet on the shorter route, then call it. Death took the backpack holding 3 homing missiles out of the stratagem, causing the equipment platform to fold back into the grounded hell pod. The cadet succumbed to gravity for a split second, but landing on her feet was in her blood. Death performed an assisted reload on Pandura's spear.
Weapons are always loaded. Don't be sure about this. Be deadly serious.
Pandura understood. On their way, they found a half-covered body bag in a grave and a dead gravedigger next to it. Next to him was a headless warrior terminid with a shovel stuck into its neck. Pandura raised her gun at the dead human body.
He moved.
Death walked up to the body, took a knee, and punched an uppercut into the chest cavity behind the ribs, into the heart. He pulled out a large grub or maggot-like terminid. Then he twisted off the head and squeezed out its brain. Pandura leaned back at the sight of that. Death then put the creature's main nervous system into his sample container. He evaluated the POI and took a breath.
He was just a man. Weak, scared, alone, no training, and his name will never be immortal on any wall. But he beat the ass off this roach with that shovel. He's an honorary Helldiver.
Death gave a precision salute to his newly named comrade. Pandura followed suit, and they continued to extraction. As they approached, Nott's voice went over the radio, calling in extraction. Death responded.
Affirmative.
Moments later, they arrived and Nott explained. Raven scoped the POIs. A hell bomb in a coffin locker. Death nodded. Raven's voice entered their helmets.
Active contact. 4 warriors leading 2 patrols and 6 of the commander's warrior guards.
Nott replied, Enjoy yourself, but save the small stuff for the cadets' target practice. Raven's monotone voice almost sounded like it was in stereo.
Peekaboo, I kill you.
Pandura expected to hear slow, controlled shots. Instead, Raven seemed to be trying to get the full 350 rounds per minute out of his R-63CS Diligence counter sniper. Less than 8 seconds later, Raven responded.
Only kickable creepy crawlers left. 10 or less.
Death turned to Pandora.
You're up, democracy officer.
Not retorted, just like the simulations. Pandora realized Not meant her opposition would be no real challenge. He was right. When she returned to the top of the extraction site, she was surprised. The Terminids were almost mindless in their aggression. No strategy other than to advance and use their claws. Raven pointed at the viscera on her left leg.
Not much to look at after you scrape them off your boot, but it's not like we don't have the time since Feckless Frank is going to eat a whole bag of super skitters by the time he lands.
Pandora used her cape to wipe off the oily fluids. The Pelican arrived after a total wait time of 3 relatively uneventful minutes. As they began to leave the planet, Knot took out his datapad and motioned for Pandora to do the same. She was shocked at what she saw. The other 3 members of the squad had defaulted their pay to be cut, and the full bounty for the mission would go to her. She was about to thank them when she noted that the cost of the single stratagem was 3 times the reward, and that was before splitting it 4 ways. She asked.
When do you see a profit?
Not answered. With a full team, level 7 difficulty missions, that is, unless you want to pump oil, steal dirt, or rescue citizens. In other words, all the non combat missions. No irony in that, right?